But this lady, I've never seen somebody dedicate themselves 24 hours a day. She wants every day that she has to live about pushing this movement forward because she truly feels that cannabis has saved her life. And it's because of Cheryl Shuman that we have all these great speakers and all these great people at Kushcon. And without Cheryl, Kushcon would not be what it is. So let's give a big round of applause and bring up Cheryl Shuman.
Tears to my eyes. I mean, I was diagnosed in 2006 and they told me I'd be dead by my birthday in 2007. And I'm still here and I'm so grateful. I just wanted to say a few things about Michael Lerner and KUSH brand, Bob Seelan, Lisa Seelan, and all the amazing people in the family of the KUSH brand. As you know, in this economy, jobs are really tough. And I was so fortunate to be invited by Keith and by Russ Belleville to run the Beverly Hills Normal chapter, and it was a pleasure and an honor every single moment. And for those of you who don't know, I was denied a liver transplant because I'm a medical cannabis patient and because cannabis is scheduled as a Schedule I drug. And in essence, that's been a death sentence for me. So I have dedicated the rest of my life to getting this movement pushed forward. And I apologize for being emotional, but Michael's so kind and so wonderful, and this company's been so good to me, and I'm just really grateful and very touched, so thank you so much. I wanted to introduce Mason Tvert for a moment. He is our Colorado love child. We love him to death. He knows more about Colorado politics, and I'd like to have him do the honor of introducing Governor Johnson. And before Mason comes up, I want to tell you that I have never in my lifetime seen such an amazing politician as Governor Johnson. How many honest politicians do we have out there? I think we've got one. And I know for a fact that he'll have my vote and whatever power I have for the KUSH brand and KUSH magazine and all the media powers that be. I will dedicate what time I have to making sure that you win your bid for presidency when you do choose to make that announcement. That being said, I'd like to introduce you to Mason Tvert. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I got a little emotional, but thank you so much.
Well, on behalf of the people of Colorado, I would like to welcome everyone here who is here from out of state. There are people attending this convention from not just across Colorado, but across this nation and around the world. And it's a very exciting time to see an event like this and to see an event like this happening here in this city, in this state. I am the executive director of an organization called SAFER, which has been one of the driving forces behind changing our marijuana laws here in Colorado. In fact, in 2005, we helped lead the effort towards making Denver the first city in the country to remove all penalties for private adult marijuana possession. And as a result, it's very fitting for this historic convention to be taking place here in this city. And it is amazing not only to see such a well-run professional event of this magnitude, but to see a city embrace it, to see the elected officials around here attending and wanting to talk and be part of this, to see potential future elected officials wanting to come and talk about this, to see all the national leaders of this movement, to see all the people involved in this industry around the country and around the world coming here to this city. And there's a reason why it's happening here, and it's because Colorado is among the states that is most likely to be the first to make marijuana legal for all adults. And that is something that we plan on seeing happen here in the next couple of years. So this event is providing an opportunity not only for people to hear about this issue and network and find out more, but also to begin the unprecedented effort we plan to make Colorado the first in the country to legalize marijuana. So with that all said, I would like to introduce our very highly acclaimed guest here, Governor Gary Johnson. Very quickly, for those who are not entirely familiar with Governor Johnson, he was a two-term governor in the state of New Mexico, a Republican, who has been largely supportive, incredibly supportive of marijuana policy reform, not only throughout his time in office, but since then. He's been traveling the country, speaking not only at events surrounding marijuana and marijuana policy, but at other events and discussing this issue, appearing in the national media and the local media alike to really put a very prominent professional face on this issue. And as a result, it has really brought about a sea change in attitudes, not only here in Colorado, but elsewhere. And I'm very, very proud to introduce the governor. He is currently running our America initiative, and it's been said that he could be contemplating a run for the presidency. But of course, that might not be something he's willing to discuss right now. But the fact that he is here really lends a great deal to this event and to its magnitude and the momentum building here in Colorado towards significant change. So I'd like him to come up now and let you know more about his thoughts on this subject and where he sees things heading and his thoughts on this event. We welcome Governor Gary Johnson.
Wow, I get to kick this off, which I think is just fantastic, really. I think it's fantastic that leaders, activists from all over the world have come to this event, Kushcon, making it the largest event of its kind in the history of the planet, which is really significant. I've got to tell you, I advocate legalizing marijuana. Control it, regulate it, tax it. I think that 90% of the drug problem is prohibition related, not use related, and that's not to discount the problems with use and abuse, but that ought to be the focus. And when you talk about legalizing marijuana, I think it's important to point out it's never going to be legal to smoke pot, become impaired, get behind the wheel of a car, or do harm to others. It's never going to be legal for kids to smoke pot or to buy pot. And under which scenario is it going to be easier for kids to buy pot? The condition that exists today, where not only can you buy pot virtually anywhere, but in a situation today where also harder drugs are made available simply because the person that sells marijuana also sells other drugs. Take that away, have to produce an ID to be able to go and buy marijuana. I think you can make the case that a lot fewer kids would be using marijuana. And is that really the concern anyway? Isn't the real concern about death, disease, crime, corruption, the things that we really care about? When it comes to all the other drugs, I advocate harm reduction strategies, which is just that, the notion of reducing death, disease, crime, corruption, the things that we really care about. In a nutshell, looking at the drug problem as a health issue rather than a criminal justice issue. I have to tell you that I have been traveling the country over the last year. I am a Republican, reaching out to Republican groups all around the country, looking to expand the base of the Republican Party to recognize what this issue is and what it represents. And what it represents from a dollars and cents standpoint is that half of what we spend on law enforcement, the courts, and the prisons is drug related. This is huge, $70 billion a year. And what are we getting for that $70 billion a year? We're arresting 1.8 million people. I always point out that is the population of New Mexico that gets arrested in this country every single year. And with those arrests go the fact that there are now 2.3 million people behind bars in this country. We have the highest incarceration rate of any country in the world. The majority of those 2.3 million people behind bars are there because they've sold drugs. And arguably, not arguably, non-violent crime are they behind bars. I estimate there are 30 million Americans that, but for our drug laws, would otherwise be tax-paying, law-abiding citizens. So we're at a tipping point in this country, and that tipping point is actually 2 years away. Right now, 46% of Americans support legalizing marijuana. This is really significant, and it's a great issue when brought to the light of day. And hence, kudos to the KUSH conference, because what this is going to do is it's going to continue to increase the awareness around this issue. When Proposition 19 came up for a vote this last fall, you know, it came right down on the national average when it came to the vote, but the issue was put on the dinner table as a topic of discussion for millions of American families that wouldn't have been there otherwise. And again, this is an issue, when light's shown on this issue advances. That 46% that supports legalizing marijuana, depending on how the wind blows, they don't move to 45 or 44 or 42 tomorrow. It's moving forward, and it's been moving forward, again, 2 years away from that. I really want to applaud all of you for your activism in this area. If there's one single thing that we can do in this country to improve our quality of life, it would be to legalize marijuana. Imagine police tomorrow going out and enforcing real crime as opposed to going out and catching people selling small amounts of drugs. And they do a really good job of that. Imagine right now, any of you going back to your car and having it burglarized while you're here in this conference. Number one, would you call the police? The only reason you'd call the police is for an insurance report. That's the only reason. But in a scenario where marijuana was legal, the only reason they'd come out and just make a police report is because they don't have the resources to go out and enforce the crime against, enforce laws against real crime. And again, real crime is the burglarization of our homes and what have you. And what's the root cause of burglarization of the home? Well, perhaps it's somebody who has to pay for drugs. Anyway, legalize marijuana, adopt rational drug policy regarding all other drugs, and law enforcement, again, concentrates on real crime committed against you and I. This will make a huge difference in the quality of life for all of us. And again, I just applaud you on your activism. Keep it up. We are 2 years away from this happening, but it's the final stretch, and more than ever, it's a need to go out and engage in conversation, discussion, debate with people that don't understand this issue. Thank you very much.